Prime Minister, Ministers, the High Commissioner, it's a delight to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Christophe Itier, Jean-Marc Borrello, and Frédéric Bailly, also from Group SOS. Exciting that this has been created both with a government ministry, a commission, and a social enterprise. I think that's very powerful and an important statement. My name is François Bonnici. I've grown up confused. French name, Italian surname, first language was Greek. I was born in South Africa. My parents are from Egypt. I have had several careers. Merci. I want to show solidarity because, like many of you, we are not one thing. We are here representing institutions, but I have really been moved by the fact that people have also spoken personally. And I think we created institutions to serve us, and somehow we've ended up serving them. And so my career started as a doctor when I realized most of my medical skills were not really useful in South Africa for the kinds of conditions and things that cause the diseases that I was seeing. So I swapped my medical coat for a hoodie, was involved in some activism, and I swapped the hoodie for a t-shirt and became a social entrepreneur working on low-cost medical devices. And I then swapped the t-shirt for a gown and became an academic and started the first Center for Social Innovation at the University of Cape Town that has actually been working on with the ILO on the white paper for the social economy in South Africa. And now swapping the gown for a suit to represent the Schwab Foundation for Social Entrepreneurship, which is the sister organization of the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum turns 50 next year. And is evolving and has recently changed its legal status to an international organization for public-private cooperation. The only other not-for-profit that has made that conversion is the International Red Cross and Red Crescent Society in Switzerland. And 20 years ago, the Schwab Foundation was created by the founders of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab and his wife, Hilde Schwab, because they recognized and had a vision that social entrepreneurship was the economy of the future. And the role of the foundation has been to select, award, legitimize, recognize leading social entrepreneurs across the world in over 70 countries, like Brukti, who's going to speak just now, to create role models, to create that advocacy, but to put them on a panel, to put them on a platform that isn't like us talking together where we're convinced, but to put them on the platform of the world powers of interests, the world powers of corporations and governments, talking about economics and trade, and to make them peers, to give them the vision that actually we've already created these alternative models. We've created so many of them, right? The challenge has been about scale, right? And there are some really important questions around scale, and like, should we be forcing organizational scale, or should we be scaling the impact? And be starting to think a little bit beyond, well, actually, if we know that we need regional contextual responses, then maybe global scale is not really what we need. So how do we find the balance between these? And so as the Schwab Foundation entering its third decade, we're realizing that the work like Pact for Impact, we actually need an ecosystem that actually starts to support the social economy that doesn't necessarily drive always organizational scale, but drives systemic scale, right? So how do we use this as a tool to restructure the kinds of things that everyone has raised today? Interestingly, the World Economic Forum actually just this year created a strategic framework agreement with the United Nations under Secretary General Gutierrez in 6 key areas where private sector collaboration is needed: financing the 2030 agenda, climate change, health, digital cooperation, gender equality, and education and skills. It's clear that over this 50-year history of the World Economic Forum, there's been a great shift in the stance and the readiness of business to dedicate themselves towards social progress and the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement. But now we see that business is ready to take this seriously because this is our collective future. But they need to be encouraged. They need to be supported. They need to be pushed. They need to be regulated by state and societal actors. And so this is why this very event is so important for the cooperation between countries to set the scenes, to set some of the rules, and to create incentives around driving the social economy and driving our existing economy and evolving it into the new models that we know can work. So that is a role that we all need to take. and the World Economic Forum and us as their sister organization, the Schwab Foundation, will be there pushing social innovators into those discussions and onto those platforms. In addition, we'll be recognizing new kinds of social innovators inside public sector, inside corporations, and also thought leaders who can help to actually advance this agenda. And we are really excited and delighted to be here today to be supporting this agenda and look forward to seeing how we can contribute using the platform of the World Economic Forum to drive this further. Thank you so much.